Are your scenes doing their job? Let's talk about that today. Welcome to the Christian Indie Writers Podcast, where we inform, encourage, and support Christian indie authors on their journey toward publication. My name is Jennifer Carl Tong, and I write historical Christian romance.
My name is Christina Katana, and I write a lot of stuff.
I'm Jamie Hirschberger, and I get intro music, and I write short fiction under the pen name J.R. Nichols.
That's what happens when I forget to turn the volume of my ringer down. So I have been an old lady with my phone this week. I can't tell you how many times people have said, "Hey, your flashlight's on." What? I didn't turn my flashlight on, or like random apps will open. I went to turn the ringer down and somehow I hit Instagram and there was a Marvel ad or something. I don't know. So that was Marvel music for you, Jamie. Welcome everybody to the Christian Indie Writers Podcast. It's just been a day already for me. How are you ladies doing today?
Great. I'm here.
All right. Awesome.
I mean, that's saying something after the last 3 weeks, right?
I know. So happy to have us all back together.
Mm-hmm. And speaking of the gang being all back together, this morning we're being joined by Piper. Good morning,
Yay!
Piper.
Good morning.
Christy and Sadie are here as well. We've got SL Parent joining us in the chat. Good morning. LM Baker is here as well. And our friend Jason Marsh is here as well. So good morning to everybody who's joining us in the chat. I'm sure there'll be others joining us later. If you have never joined us on a Friday morning live, we encourage you to do that. Take time off of work. It's okay. You have vacation time sitting there waiting to be used up. What better way to use it?
Tell them you ate the diarrhea lettuce and you can't come in.
There you go. And then you can just
Don't lie. I am not condoning lying. Sorry, I repent.
Yeah, and then you could just, be having breakfast or snacks and sit back in your jammies and listen and chat with us in the comments. So, but if you are also just a listener as a podcast, we appreciate you as well. No matter where you hear us or watch us, we would appreciate if you would go in and like and subscribe, share whatever you find share worthy, and just support us in general. We really appreciate that. We're trying to grow this community of like-minded writers so we can be an encouragement to each other. Catherine also has showed up in the chat. Good morning, Catherine. All right, ladies and gentlemen, today we're going to be talking about scenes, and specifically that every scene has a job to do. So this isn't just like a scene structure episode. We've had episodes similar to that. We've had lots of episodes recently about what's wrong with your novel, why things are dragging. But recognizing that every scene has a job to do, I think is indispensable for you as a writer and for your reading. And that might be why your story is dragging if your scenes are not doing what they should be doing. So that's what we're going to talk about today. All right. Every scene needs a job, ladies. What is the number one thing that we should ask? Or I guess that we should stop asking when we're talking about our scenes?
Is this a good scene?
Right on.
Mm-hmm. Yep. What should we be asking instead?
Is it doing its job?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, what job is it doing also? Because if you don't know, maybe you need to reverse engineer. Mm-hmm. And if you cannot identify, that's another clue.
Yeah. Because the scene doesn't have to be exciting, or all of them don't have to be exciting, but they have to be purposeful. There has to be a purpose behind them. So what are some of the things that our scenes should be doing?
Well, can I just say when okay, sorry, not to kind of undermine our premise there, but is it a good scene? I think what we really want to do is redefine what a good scene is. Mm-hmm. So I think that it's not necessarily that the question is wrong, but the definition of good has changed. So I'm sorry, ask your question again, Jen. Sorry about that.
What are some of the things that our scenes should be doing?
Well, it's going to be
reveal the characters. Mm-hmm. It can change in the plot. So it can reveal like your character needs to make a decision, which pivots the whole story, all kinds of stuff like that.
I think it's going to be genre specific, and it's going like for a mystery, you're going to want to maybe like plant a clue or introduce a red herring. And also, well, we might be talking about sort of like the organization of things later. But if you're a plotter, you probably know what job this scene has to do.
Correct. Like I was not going to like harp on plotting again today, but for me, you guys know that I plot out my chapter, and my chapters are mostly, not always, but mostly one scene. And so each one of my chapters has a purpose. Sometimes it takes 2 scenes to do that, but they still there's a purpose behind them.
Right. And especially in fantasy, there's a lot of foreshadowing. And one of the things I like to do is increase the tension. Like, okay, things are going wrong, but how can they go even wronger? And I'm sorry, I know that's not a word, but I like it.
It works.
It should be a word. It's kind of ironic.
It's my word now, and I'm declaring it a word.
I mean, it's not as bad as using the wrong "your" in a group text in a business situation. Just, not that I know, and not that there's anybody I know of that's done that.
Oh no, not the writer.
Blame it on autocorrect.
Well, can I just say that what I think we've accidentally stumbled upon here is also possibly a good treatment to try for a writer's block scenario. So if you're feeling stuck and you're feeling like you don't know what to write, just decide on a problem or a task that needs to happen in your book and write that scene next. So maybe you realize that you haven't really established your setting. Or you feel like the relationship between a couple of your characters is lacking and you want to kind of deepen that relationship. Just like picking a task and writing to it can maybe help you have a breakthrough.
And sometimes when we're sprinting, something will come up and like it's a good scene, we want to use it. There probably is a purpose in what we've written too. Like I know there's been things I've written that have made you guys laugh out loud. And I think that that's a purpose too. I think that depending on your novel, like for sure contemporary romance needs to have moments of comic relief. People are looking for that, for a little bit of escapism, right? So they're looking for something that's going to make them laugh. So that's a purpose too.
Sorry, I think I must have a lag because I keep interrupting you guys and I don't mean to, so I apologize in advance. Even whatever kind of genre you're writing in, sometimes you have all these really tense scenes, right? And things are ramping up and it's stressful and it's kind of moving along. Sometimes you just need a little bit of a rest to kind of take a breather.
Right.
But those scenes can still have purpose to them.
Yeah, exactly. Those rests are a great time to give a little bit of backstory or to get really kind of in a more like a hint at what's coming later, which is kind of what I did with my sprint today. So I guess you guys will see that. We'll talk about that more later. But those slow down moments are also really important. But again, I agree, because I think that these scenes, a good scene will do many of these things we've listed simultaneously. Yeah, it'll like all happen like at the same time. So, or 2 or 3 of them at the same time. Like I can have a laugh out loud comic relief moment that also draws the characters closer together, or also reveals a weakness of one of the characters, or changes somebody's goal, so deepens the interaction. There's lots of things you can do simultaneously in the same scene.
When I think we were talking a little bit about momentum, and if you don't ever have those calm breaks, we did do a whole episode about not making everything exciting, and sometimes you need to rest. Your impact will be much greater if you have hills and valleys instead of a steady stream of, oh my goodness, now this happened. Oh my goodness, now this happened. If you don't ever bring people back to a baseline, your impact is going to be severely diminished.
I was just reading a piece the last couple days that somebody wrote for our critique group, and it was masterful the way that she brought us to this all is lost moment. And then hope came rushing in. And then just like that, she chopped the hope's head off and it was gone. And you were back at, oh my God, it really is lost.
Oh gosh.
That like deep breath of, oh, it's going to be okay. And then, oh no, like that. I just feel like that was masterful writing. Right there,
nice.
all in one scene.
Right. So in my first book, there's a scene where she first comes in contact with like the man of her dreams after years of not seeing him. And in the scene, it's the contact. That's the important thing that happens, right? But then there's also a moment when she thinks that his like broad shoulders kind of pull at his jacket, and almost like it's a size too small or something like that. And that was very important for a scene later, but I don't make it super obvious. So I think that also it's really important to put little things in there too. So agreed that every scene has to have a job, and you decide what that one job is. What about ladies giving every scene a side hustle? So professional novels and well-written novels rarely just have scenes that just do one thing. So we talked about that before. We said that like there needs to be multiple things happening. But when you're writing it, also put some little things in, like the too tight jacket or whatever. Can you guys let's talk about that. Instead of like, this is a romance scene, what are some of the things that we can ask?
Well, I think this
how
also
can we raise the stakes. Sorry, Jamie.
That's okay. But I think that, again, when we're redefining our definition of good, I think that what we're kind of trying to say is not only should your scene be doing a job, but it really needs to be killing it and bringing it home. In the words of Dave Ramsey, it really needs to be delivering these things in order for it to be considered quote unquote good. So earlier, it was kind of like we were saying broad things like deepening a relationship or increasing attention. And then these things feel a little more specific, like, the specifics of kind of maybe how you would do it, like revealing that secret. And, or like setting up the joke that's going to be resolved in future scenes or chapters. So I think it's just helping redefine our definition of good, honestly.
Right. And you said revealing the secret, and I would also put in there hinting at the secret.
Ooh,
like there's a secret. What is it? And then you like hint at it a little bit, maybe even in several scenes before you ever get to getting close to revealing it.
You can hint at what the future conflict's going to be too. If there's another woman or there's someone that the character is going to think is another woman, like you introduce her in a way that isn't like saying that she's the other woman, right? Like she's got to show up. She can't just show up later. Like all of a sudden, oh, who's this woman? Like you have to be able to so the side hustle definitely is all the little Easter eggs too. I think that's a very important thing. You need to make sure that every scene has a main purpose and some sort of side hustle.
And it's a good place to introduce symbolism too. So like there's something that big that's going to happen in the climax of your book. You can start hinting at that symbolism earlier in the book. And you don't want to do it in every scene, but enough of them where you have your reader that when they get there, they're going to go, oh,
Like if you want to frame a scene, frame your novel, let's say, which I enjoy doing, the first scene is on a train and the last scene is on a train. Or let's say the first scene isn't about the train, right? But maybe the last scene is more about the train, but you're framing it because the story starts one place and ends up. But train is just one example. It could be at a hair salon. It could be somebody eating pizza. Like whatever it is that you're going to frame your story with, and that is going to have some sort of symbolism and has some sort of meaning. It's in the first scene if you're framing, but it isn't the main job of the scene, if that makes sense.
I kind of did this in my trilogy that I wrote. In the first book, I have my main character standing on a ridge, looking off at the landscape and what's the word? Thinking about her future.
Where is my mother?
Where is my mother?
And this journey that she's going to go on. And then the last book is like the culmination of what that journey was starting. But she's still looking off into the future from that bridge,
because it's
in the end of the third book. So
the internal has changed and developed. Yeah.
Right.
Right.
It's very good.
All right. So number 3, our third topic is fire the lazy employee.
That sounds so much better than cutting a chapter,
or a character or a whole scene.
Listen, this is yet another plug for sprinting. And here is exactly why you want to become a sprinter. If you could sprint every day, if you could just get used to the idea that you are going to produce so many prototypes before you get to your final version, and get so used to the idea that you can write words that don't get published, and that's okay. You need to really desensitize yourself to it, especially when you're brand new and the words are coming so slow and you think, but I worked really hard on this 600 words and it's good writing, our old definition of good, whatever that meant to you. You really need to do what it takes to desensitize yourself to just cutting, because it is not serving your overall vision for your book. And it's really going to distinguish you from somebody who has not put in the effort to develop their craft.
Yeah. And you know how many people I've talked to, and this happened to me, where you write your first book and you think it's finished, and then you realize you have to start all over and you have to throw that whole first book away. Not throw it away, like, well, I threw mine away because it was trash, but you know what I'm saying? Like, that's going to happen. It might happen with a scene. It might happen with a whole book. And you need to be able to say, I'm doing this for the good of the craft. What I do next is going to be better.
That's a really good point. So what are some signs that a scene should be cut or rewritten?
Repetitive.
I was just gonna say redundant. Yeah, same thing, same information. I mean, arguably you could say it's necessary for it to come from a different character or different, but no, honestly the answer is no. You really just don't need to say the same thing twice.
And I discovered when writing my first book that there's just only so many scenes you can have of your main character walking through the woods.
Or going on a picnic. Right.
I got past my opening of my book and I'm like, okay, I need 60,000 words of her walking through the woods, because she's got to walk through the woods to get from here where I need her to be. So I had to come up with a whole lot of stuff to happen while she was walking through the woods, so that she just wasn't walking through the woods.
I know I say this a lot, but if the scene doesn't move your story forward, it's not necessary. So specifically, really what that means, if you're trying to understand, well, like, what do you mean by that? Like, if nothing has changed from the beginning of the scene to the end of the scene, then it's unnecessary. Now, does that mean like it's a major change? No, it could be the fact that, like, oh, now we know more about this character or their internal struggles, or no, now we know what their history is. It could be that we get insight into like a relationship, but if no decisions being made, if we're not getting any insight, if nothing changes for us as a reader or changes for the characters, then it hasn't moved your story forward, and it's not necessary. Like, I don't care how late you stay up at night writing the most beautifully written chapter on how to butcher a chicken, like, which I did, thinking it was so great. And then I got up in the morning, refreshed, and read it over, and I'm like, nobody wants to read about someone butchering a chicken. Why? That's when I learned not to stay up late writing. It's not worth it for me.
Well, and even still, Jen, let's say, you were making an argument, oh, it's so wonderfully written, but readers legitimately could skip that chapter and it would do nothing to hurt their experience of the book. And if you're trying to decide if something should stay or be fired, if a reader could skip it and not be totally lost going forward, go ahead and fire that chapter.
Agreed. And you don't want anyone skipping anything in your book, because pretty soon they're just not going to read your books, because that's what readers are doing there, is they want to read.
So don't describe the curtains if you want me to read your book. Anyway, that's
unless the curtains are hiding a clue.
Right.
Or
if there's shoes sticking out under the curtain.
Right. Or one is way cleaner than the other. It's obvious that one was washed and the other one hasn't been. Right. I mean, there's reasons, but yes, agreed.
But I don't care that they're paisley green or pink or whatever. Anyway, this is one reason I really love the Story Genius scene cards, is because you write what happened, how it affected that character, and then you say because of that. On every scene, you say because of what happened in this scene, and then you start the next scene. Because of that, the character does this. And you have to ask yourself that question every time you start a new scene. And it really keeps you from getting off in the weeds if you have to do that every single time.
Yeah. I also think too that if you really want to improve this, give each of your scenes like a review. And if you can't honestly list 2 or 3 things that this scene or this chapter is doing to move your story forward, then it's probably time just to cut it or rewrite it or something. And then, like Tina said before, like it doesn't matter how great it is. I don't remember if it was Tina or Jamie. It doesn't matter how wonderful it is. It doesn't matter how much time you spent on it. Like your book matters, and you don't want to put something out that is not worthy of readers, because there's so many options out there. So you want your book to be the best one.
Right. And if you really love that chicken scene, find a reason for it to be relevant to a scene that matters.
Right.
Or make it bonus content.
Could do that. The purpose for me, the purpose was I was trying to make it it was supposed to be romantic.
Okay.
It was like them like reminiscing about their childhood, and we were supposed to learn that like that Phoebe's mom was very important in Will's life, more so than what she realized, and it didn't do it. It just was about butchering, and I realized that I could put all that information and get that what I needed out of that scene in a better chapter that didn't include the preparation of poultry for dinner.
Harvesting.
Right, exactly. All right, Jamie, you wanted us to hit on when is it too much?
Yeah, when is a scene trying to do too many jobs? Like, I personally would get burnout if I had a main job and 3 side hustles. Like, probably 1 side hustle would be my max, and it would just lend to rationality that scenes can be the same way.
What do you think, Tina?
Well, I guess I feel like if you could split that scene into multiple scenes doing multiple jobs, maybe that would be a clue. Like if you could take one of the side hustles and you could make it its own scene, and you had enough to fill up a whole scene to go with it, that was be a clue that you should do that. But if it's just like a few sentences that are going to build later, then it's probably okay.
I mean, I think it also depends on like how big the side hustle is. Like just throwing in a red rose might be okay if you're doing like some other things too. However, you want it to be subtle but also impactful enough. So I agree. You have one main job that the chapter is going to do, 1 side hustle, maybe 2. I think if you're trying to fit too many in there, I agree with you. I think it could be too much. It'd be a fun thing for us to go through our books, though. Pick a scene and like figure out how many side hustles our scenes are doing. Now I want to do that. Because I know that I make sure every scene has a purpose, at least as far as, I mean, maybe readers don't like pick up on it, but I know what the purpose of it is. But the side hustle things, I never really like pay attention to how many I put in there. That's a really good question.
And I think if you put too much in there, you're going to exhaust your reader.
Oh, that's true.
And or confuse them.
Yeah.
Or the importance or weight of it will be lost.
Yes. Just like we were talking about, you need to have that take a breath so that your exciting parts can be impactful. You need to make sure that your scene elements are impactful for that reason. Well, that's good. And I like what you say, Jen. Just for people who are brand new, scenes are segments of chapters. They're not paragraphs, right? Like,
right.
can you just talk about the structure and what we're kind of saying? We're not saying your whole chapter only can have two things going on.
A scene almost 100% of the time is in one location when one event is happening. So if it is a conversation between, say, me and Tina at the coffee shop, if we leave if the coffee shop scene ends, like if we're no longer in the coffee shop, the scene has changed. Or if enough time has passed and our conversation topic has changed, the scene has changed. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. If it was a play, you would have to change the set.
Yes, exactly.
Very good.
It's a really good way of thinking of it. Now a scene though can be in the same location, but be different scenes. So like, there are times when you're watching a play and they don't change the set, but the lights go down and people move and new people come in and time has lapsed or something else has changed. That's a new scene as well. So I think that's a really good analogy to use it if you're watching a play. That helps to make it clear. So that's why I say when I write chapters, I tend to do one scene. There are oftentimes that I will split a chapter and it'll be between like, the main female character will have part of the scene and then it switches point of view and then I go to the man. But the purpose of that chapter is still the same purpose overall. That's why I keep those two scenes in the same chapter. And honestly, when I started doing that, I don't think I even realized that was what I was doing as a newbie writer, but that's exactly what I'm doing. So that's how I like when I'm writing, sometimes it makes sense to split scenes, meaning having two different scenes in the same chapter as opposed to one scene per chapter, but they still have to there has to be a reason why I keep them. It's not just the length of it. There's a reason that they coordinate together for some reason, whether it's they both are coming to a point where they're thinking about each other and you see it from two different perspectives, or we're at a point where they're both growing spiritually separately in their lives, and there's a reason why they need to be together for your reader to like connect it, but in general I usually write one scene per chapter.
Well, thanks for that. Thanks for that feedback. Ellen Baker, she said, when everything goes wrong and the character doesn't learn, bad idea. Yeah, for sure. Make sure your lessons are learned.
Yeah, that's real life. That's not books, right?
Exactly.
I just had somebody say to me the other day, talking about a mutual friend. She's like, I don't know what to say to her anymore because she goes from like one bad man to another and then can't see it. I'm like, you can't. Like, you can't tell. You just got to pray for her and let her, when she comes back someday, she'll figure it out. But I thought about that as like a writer. Like if I wrote my books the way some of the people I know live their lives, nobody would read them because it's so unrealistic. Oh, goodness. Okay. So ladies, that's the meat of it. We would love to continue this conversation about scenes in our Facebook group. If you are still interested in asking questions or talking about what makes up a scene or what makes a good scene versus a bad scene, head on over to our Facebook group. It is the listeners of CIWP, which stands for the Christian Indie Writers Podcast. We have a great community over there. It's a lot of awesome writers, newbies, as well as seasoned writers that all love Jesus and just love to share knowledge and encourage each other. So if you're not already a member of that Facebook group, and honestly, it's still pretty small, and I've been a part of other writers groups on Facebook and they get pretty toxic, and we have been very blessed in that group that we haven't had that. People are just very good to each other. And so we'd love to have you join us over there. All right,
Amen.
ladies, this is our favorite time of the week, and it is the feeding of the backs. If you are new here, this is a feedback time of our podcast. Before the podcast starts, we each take the same exact prompt and we spend 15 minutes writing to it. And then, like crazy insane people, we share them live here in front of hundreds of thousands of nobody, a few people. But we share them live without editing them or even looking at them a second time. So because it's not edited, we only give positive and encouraging feedback, not like a regular writing group. But anyways, it's our favorite thing. So Jamie, why don't you tell us what the prompt was today and then share with us what you wrote?
Sure. We had 5 words that we were supposed to incorporate into our sprint. And you'll notice that I said supposed to because guess how many I did? Like 1. Like I remembered that we had the words and then started writing and just forgot about them. Okay. Yes. But the whole point is to inspire you, right? So exactly. Another little thing I want to disclose before I get started is I forgot to set my timer. So I had to like guess at how long I had been writing when I finally did set my timer. So sorry if it feels a little long, but I don't think it is considering how much I usually write in 15 minutes. Okay, so the 5 words were echo, pinnacle, sapphire, monarch, and journey. And here's what I wrote. I only shoot pinnacles, he said. Obviously, the only acceptable response I, a girl who knew nothing about golf and even less about golf balls, could offer was, sounds fancy. As Pinnacle Shooter began to wax poetic about the intricacies surrounding golf ball design, I snagged another cocktail from the tray of a roving server and began to mentally adjust my budget to accommodate yet another Uber ride home. Heaven knew I would need it. I looked around at the other women in the room, high-powered directors and senior directors, all of them speaking, all of them with audiences either pretending as I was or genuinely rapt with interest in what they had to say. I had been so excited to get this invitation, this opportunity to be in the same room with these boardroom celebrities. And here I was stuck listening to this pokey little vice president singing the praises of a golf ball brand. Pinnacle, I reminded myself. There was some irony there. Smiling at my own joke inadvertently encouraged my tormentor, who had pivoted from golf balls to golf courses. And before I knew what was happening, he'd launched into a full-scale campaign in favor of the manicured plots, as if I were someone he'd seen outside protesting the local links the weekend before. There you are, Jeremy. I knew the voice, and in the millisecond before its owner came into view, my face grew hot and most assuredly lobster-colored. She was Calendula Tate, Director of Global Client Service, directly 6 ladder rungs above me in the office chain of command. Callie, I was just telling Brenda here about how much Groundswell was doing to benefit the K home. Ah, Callie said, but in that same moment, without thinking, I said, it's Belinda. In the moment it took for my hearers to adjust to this insertion of fact, the idea that I had possibly torpedoed my future with Schanzer Corp zipped through my brain. But heavy on its tail was the realization that I had done something I never would have done 5 years ago. I had advocated for myself. And this second thought was accompanied by a physical reaction which had recently become habitual to me. I straightened my posture and smiled mercifully, signaling forgiveness for Jeremy's error. I don't know what I was expecting either of them to say in response to my, it's Belinda, but I knew I was certainly not expecting Calendula Tate to respond, I know. She knows? My brain whirled, and the inside of my head was almost enveloped in a fugue of vague alarm. I had to press the clasp of my bracelet into my wrist in order to bring myself to attention to what Calendula was saying next. She's Belinda Sylvester. Jeremy's face became a portrait of delighted surprise. You're Belinda Sylvester? I was failing myself. I knew, but the open admiration was proving to be too much. I was just telling Jeremy about your proposed initiative to automate the reconciliation process on your team and all the work you've been doing to get visibility on it. Nice job. Thank you, I said. And then my timer went off.
Ooh. Okay, first of all, I don't know if you meant to do this or not, but pinnacle, I know it's the word that we were given, but it's like a low budget golf ball. So the fact that this like bigwig was like, I only use, like kind of makes you think that he doesn't know anything that he's talking about, which I kind of love about this guy. Well done, Jamie. I like, it felt real. It felt like we were in one of those corporate like things that make me want to gag. Been there, done that. Like, yeah. So well done. It felt real. Yeah.
I know nothing about golf balls, so you like totally pulled me in. I thought the golf balls were expensive.
Yeah.
Well, arguably he would be telling you the merits of them in spite of people thinking that they're crappy because he's launching into how they're designed, whatever. I mean, like,
Yeah.
whatever. The point
Maybe
is,
he
you know how
owns
people
half the
are.
stock of the company.
Possibly.
Right. It makes you,
Possibly.
what it does is it makes you want to know, like, okay, why? Like, if you
Why?
are a golfer, you're like, why? And then it makes you like listen to like, yeah. So yeah, that's really cool. I enjoyed that.
Yeah, it was fun.
Thanks. I
LM says,
appreciate it.
golf ball brand irony. Doesn't know and doesn't really care about golfing at all. She or he lost interest of the speech for sure. Like we all would, I think. I mean, like, even those of us that like will occasionally golf or used to golf often, like I don't really care. Like, to have a full conversation about what golf ball you use. Unless
it's kind of like the color of the curtains for me.
Unless we're golfing, right? Or unless we're like this is, yeah. Yeah, well done. Piper says, woohoo, I love her newfound courage and strength in herself. Yes, me too.
Thanks. Right.
That was like my favorite part too.
All right. The correcting someone big saying your name wrong. Yeah. That takes courage.
Yeah. All right. I'm going to go next. And I used 2 of the words. So I beat Jamie. I was heading towards the rest. I had like where I was going to go with the rest of the words, just never got there. And it was a slow start for me. A slow burn, I guess. The slightest of breezes swayed the prairie grass surrounding the corrals. Charlotte watched as a monarch butterfly flitted about, attempting to land, then jutting back up in the air, unable to find a sturdy enough landing spot amongst the delicate grasses. I know how you feel, Charlotte whispered. She turned back to the tiny ranch house that was now her temporary home. Ramshackled and unsightly, it felt no more safe for the landing she had hoped to make here in the West than the unsteady grasses her butterfly friend longed to find rest upon. Yet, unlike the butterfly, here she must land. How she longed to flit away without a care in the world, carried away by whatever breeze lifted her. But she couldn't. She had nowhere to go, no one to turn to, and she had learned her lesson to not trust the breeze, for the one that had blown her here had not been trustworthy. Darn you, Cade McNeil. Darn you and your fickle heart. Cade had loved her once, but not enough to choose her over his northern ties. And now, when she was at her most desperate moment, he didn't love her enough to save her from her situation. On the distant ridge, a lone woman walked through the long grass, her head wrapped very much like all the slave women from Charlotte's youth. The visage of the woman was like an echo of a time long past, one that Charlotte was more than happy to leave behind. 3, 2, 1.
Okay, the part that stuck out, first of all, very good overall, but the part that stuck out to me the most was that she wasn't sure any longer if she could trust the breeze, which felt very thematic to me. And I really, really liked that particular section. She wishes that she could be trusting in the breeze the way that the butterfly is, and she can't. To me, I really found that to be poignant.
No, thank you.
Yeah, I was focused on the grass and how it was moving and it wasn't safe to land. And I just can't help but think that silhouette coming, well, I guess it wasn't a silhouette, but this woman coming through the grass is like a redemption figure coming through these waves of grass that she can't land on. And I just can't wait to see how that's going to work.
That is actually on the nose, Tina.
Oh, really?
She's going to be
right.
Yep. She's going to be very important. Yep. So, all right, awesome.
You did a really good job because that's exactly what I got from it.
All right, cool. Yeah, and I was getting to the this is all going to be backstory for Charlotte and like kind of some like of her what she's afraid of now and like little tidbits of like what her past is. So okay,
that's
awesome.
Sorry, but before we move on to Tina's and to not super backtrack us, but when what you're doing right now with compiling your Marnie scenes is very much hiring and firing. And it's funny that you're kind of almost like discovering the job of this scene. That's what made me think of it, is as you're evaluating it right now. What did I do here? What have I done with this sprint? And I'm just kind of pointing out that that's how you do it, is you think about, what did this scene do for me? And you just did it live. So just, that's how you do it, friends.
Oh, thanks, Jamie.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. All right, Tina, it's your turn.
Okay, I win because I used all the words.
Yay!
But if I was going to actually use this scene in my book, I wouldn't probably use any other words. They kind of feel artificial to me in here, but they're in there.
So for me, just real quick, like, I love using our sprints and keeping the words in my books, because when I reread them or I see them, I'm like, this is one of our sprints, and I hope that, like, when our listeners and our fans read any of our books, that they see that. So, but I get it. If it's like completely artificial, you want to get rid of them.
Yeah.
That I get.
Well, I feel like I would use echo, but I don't know about the others. We'll see.
Okay. All right.
The wolf song seemed to echo endlessly through the valley in every direction. Was it one wolf, or was it many wolves surrounding Taslina's campsite? The pinnacle of summer had come and gone, and the sky reflected off the sapphire lake as it set, creating a tapestry of purple and crimson that rippled against the blue. Just a few weeks ago, it would still have been bright as day at this time of night, but as the nights got colder, the days got shorter. The fireweed was blooming all the way to the top, and had been for almost a week. 5 weeks to go, if the legend spoke true, and the termination dust would visit the mountains. This journey was taking far longer than Taslina had thought. One setback after another had plagued every step. The earthquake had literally moved mountains, and what they thought was going to be a straight shot turned out to be a jagged zigzag down rivers, over crumbling rock slides, and detours around gorges that had formed when the earth shifted from its rightful place. They had to make it to Anchorage before the snow came. If they didn't, they would miss their chance and the promised ship to the land in the south, named for the great Indian chief Seattle. It would have to wait until the spring thaw. Every passing day increased the worry lines in Payne's forehead, and he spent more and more time alone in the trees crying out to God. Taslina didn't blame him. When her son had been taken from her, she was willing to do anything to get him back. She looked down at the sweet, angelic face of her sleeping boy, his flaming curls framing his perfect cheeks, and his full red lips sucking at an imaginary breast. Once Payne had found out that his son wasn't dead as he thought, but off in the southern land serving a monarch turned tyrant, he was determined to go there and find him. Taslina, only 2 weeks wed to the man she never imagined she would fall in love with, refused to let him go alone. And then the timer went off.
Ooh.
This reveals a lot about what her character is, because to have that small baby and still decide to take this adventure, that's very revelatory. And I'm sure it's sandwiched between more things that would help us to understand that, of course, this is what she would do. Mm-hmm. But standing alone, it's very, very revealing.
Mm-hmm. And the description of the baby, as a mom, very realistic. Like, I could see it. I was like I could imagine my own babies. Like, yeah, that was really well done. Obviously, you're a mom too, so you remember those days too.
And a grandma.
So very sweet. That part was very sweet. But
and you educated us about fireweed too in a sneaky way. So good job there.
Yeah. And Ellen Baker says, "Oh, the reflection of the sunset and the lack of color. Was the lake water on the glacier, or was the lake water from the glacier?"
Well, I would say almost every lake in Alaska is from a glacier.
Right, exactly.
But I think that the ones that are deeper are a deeper blue, and the ones that are shallow, like if you look at the rivers in Alaska, they have a turquoise color from the silt from the glaciers. It changes the color of the water. And then some of the really deep lakes look almost black. So it just depends on how deep the lake is.
Mm-hmm. Piper says, oh my goodness, it's so good, Tina. And I agree. And she said she had a spelling error. Things are popping up so fast. Okay. All right. Well done, ladies. So now we're gonna wrap things up. What do you guys got going on next? What's next for you, ladies? How about you, Tina? We'll start with you.
Well, I decided that it's time to buckle down and start scheduling some manuscript time every day.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously I'm trying to be a little more realistic than trying to schedule 4 hours a day, because it never really happened that way.
Mm-hmm.
So I think I'm going to set aside 2 hours a day, Monday through Friday, and call it manuscript time.
Oh, okay.
And if I just sit and read through what I've already written and think about it, I'm going to count that. If I then get inspired to write something, I'll write something. If I get inspired to edit, I'll edit. Like, I feel like if I make it too, like, you must do this, I won't do anything. So that's what I'm going to do. And I'm going to see if that works better for me, because I've been struggling. I struggle with, and it's just not in my writing, but I struggle with the idea of, it is this time and you must do this. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm trying to be a little bit more flexible, because I feel like if I force myself to do something, it doesn't come out well. But if I wait until it hits me, then it does come out well. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So by reading my manuscript and going over what I've already written and thinking about it, that gives room for that inspiration to hit. And because I'm an intellection, I feel like I think about scenes and think about them and think about them and think about them. And then when I write them, it takes 5 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Because I've already, I can edit a blank page, I always say. Because I'm always like rethinking it in my head. So that's my plan. We'll see how that works.
And you're starting that when?
Monday.
All right.
8 to 10 is the time I put aside. So,
what about you, Jen?
Well, for me, my summer job that I took on is kind of starting to wind down, but I don't have an exact end date. And I keep thinking, like, well, I'll just write in the evenings now that I have evenings. For those who don't know, I worked at a Christian camp this summer with the program manager, and which means we're in charge of like all the camps, all the activities, like the zip line, everything this camp does. And so when we have an overnight camp, like, I don't know, like, you just don't clock out. You're just there all night long. Like, it's a lot of fun. I've made a lot of great friends. There have been so many kids that have committed their lives to Jesus this summer. It's just been very rewarding, but it's a lot of work and I'm really tired. But I haven't been given an end date yet. They keep saying, like, well, the season's winding down, and I'm like, okay. And so we'll see what happens. So I'm still busy doing that. I do have my camper there now. And when it does end, my camper stays there. So I'm kind of hoping to make it like a writing retreat once the job ends. And I'll have more time to myself. So as of right now, I'm still writing here and there. I wrote around the campfire the other night. It was just me, and I made a fire. That was kind of nice. It really was just kind of like little scenes and character like backgrounds and stuff. But yeah, so I don't have any concrete plans like Tina does, but I'm still working. So what about you, Jamie?
Before I answer, Jen, are you you're in writing Widows of the West now? That's your work in progress thing that you're doing?
I go back and forth between that and Marnie. Whatever is kind of, I know this is so not me. I'm usually like hyper focused on one book, and I am kind of flitting back and forth. Just depends on what mood I'm in. Do I feel like historical? Great. Do I feel like contemporary? Awesome. That's just where I'm feeling,
Okay. And no pressure to answer this one, but what about publishing your book 3? That okay?
It's just I have to have time where I can sit for a whole week and just get everything lined up. Do you know what I'm saying?
For like a launch or something.
Yeah, it's the launch.
Well, you might be a holiday book. I mean, it might work out that way.
I should get it out before then, but I know that should be my priority. When this job is done, my priority should be nothing else but planning the launch is what I should do. But
It's just, yeah, there's a lot wrapped up with that book. So anyway,
it's more, it's literally, it's up here. It's a mental battle I'm having more than anything else. And so I really covet your guys' prayers to just get through the mental gymnastics of doing it more than actually doing the stuff. So.
Oh my goodness. Yes. Like I'm going to steal what you said, your last little piece there, copy ditto, because, the mental of it, like just today I was thinking like, oh my gosh, I feel more like everything writing just feels so much like an obligation and I'm not having any fun. I'm just feeling down that I'm not doing it. That's no good. But, I know that that's just kind of, a phase or a season or just kind of whatever. So that's really where I'm at.
Okay. Well, great. We'd love to hear what everyone else is doing, what your plans are for writing. If you'd like to join us over in the Facebook group and share with what's going on with you, we would love to have you over there. All right. Well, as long as all hearts are clear, until next time, may your pen be prolific and may your deadlines be met. And may all of your words honor Christ. Bye, everyone.
Bye.